Chazan, Revelation, chapter 12. And a great sign was seen in the heaven, a woman clad with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And being pregnant, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign was seen in the heaven, a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his heads. And his tail draws a third of the stars of the heaven and throws them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she bore a son, a male, who was to shepherd all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught away to Elohim and his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by Elohim to be nourished there 1,260 days. And there came to be fighting in the heaven. Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his messengers fought. But they were not strong enough, nor was a place found for them in the heaven any longer. And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who leads all the world astray. He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the heaven, "Now have come the deliverance and the power and the reign of our Elohim and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their witness, and they did not love their lives to death. Because of this rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil is come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time." And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to a male. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she's nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. And out of the mouth of the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river which the dragon had spewed out of its mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed, those guarding the commands of Elohim and possessing the witness of Yeshua Messiah. Chapter 13. And I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads names of blasphemy. And the beast I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth was like the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his throne and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as having been slain to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the earth marveled after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, who is able to fight with him?" And he was given a mouth, speaking great matters and blasphemies. And he was given authority to do so 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemies against Elohim, to blaspheme his name and his tent and those dwelling in the heaven. And it was given to him to fight with the set apart ones and to overcome them. And authority was given to him over every tribe and tongue and nation. And all those dwelling on the earth whose names have not been written in the book of life of the slain Lamb from the foundation of the world shall worship him. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. He who brings into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with the sword has to be killed with the sword. Here is the endurance and the belief of the set apart ones. And I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all of the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from the heaven on the earth before men. And he leads astray those dwelling on the earth because of those signs which he was given to do before the beast, saying to those dwelling on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword yet lived. And there was given to him to give spirit to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause to be killed as many as would not worship the image of the beast. And he causes all, both small and great, and rich and poor, and free and slave, to be given a mark upon their right hand or upon their foreheads, that no one should be able to buy or sell except that he has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666. Chapter 14. And I looked and saw a lamb standing on Mount Sion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written upon their foreheads. And I heard a voice out of the heaven, like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. And they sang a new song before the throne, and before the 4 living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. They are those who were not defiled with women, for they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them on. They were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to Elohim and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no falsehood, for they are blameless before the throne of Elohim. And I saw another messenger flying in mid-heaven, holding to the everlasting good news to announce to those dwelling on the earth, even to every nation and tribe and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Elohim and give esteem to him, because the hour of his judgment is come. And worship him who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and fountains of water. And another messenger followed, saying, Babel is fallen. It's fallen. That great city. Because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her whoring. And a third messenger followed them, saying with a loud voice, If anyone worships the beast in his image and receives his mark upon his forehead or upon his hand, He also shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out undiluted into the cup of his wrath. And he shall be tortured with fire and sulfur before the set apart messengers and before the Lamb. And the smoke of their torture goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day or night, those worshiping the beast and his image, also if anyone receives the mark of his name. Here is the endurance of the set-apart ones. Here are those guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yeshua. And I heard a voice out of heaven saying to me, "Write, blessed are the dead who die in the Master from now on." Yes, says the Spirit, in order that they rest from their labors and their works follow with them. And I looked and saw a white cloud, and sitting on the cloud was one like the son of Adam, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place, crying with a loud voice to the one sitting on the cloud, "Send your sickle and reap, because the hour has come for you to reap, because the harvest of the earth is ripe." And the one sitting on the cloud thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place, which is in the heaven, and he too held a sharp sickle. And another messenger came out from the slaughter place, having authority over the fire, and he cried with a loud cry to him having the sharp sickle, saying, "Send your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe." And the messenger thrust his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of Elohim. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the bridles of the horses for about 1,600 stadia. Chapter 15. And I saw another sign in the heaven, great and marvelous, 7 messengers having the 7 last plagues, for the wrath of Elohim was ended in them. And I saw like a sea of glass mixed with fire, and those overcoming the beast and his image and his mark and the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, holding harps of Elohim. And they sang the song of Moshe with the servant of Elohim, and the song of the Lamb, saying, "Great and marvelous are your works, Yehovah El Shaddai. Righteous and true are your ways, O sovereign of the set-apart ones. Who shall not fear you, O Yehovah, and esteem your name? Because you alone are kind. Because all nations shall come and worship before you. For your righteousnesses have been made manifest." And after this I looked and saw the dwelling place of the tent of witness in the heaven was opened. And out of the dwelling place came the 7 messengers, having the 7 plagues, dressed in clean, bright linen, and having their chests girded with golden bands. And one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 messengers 7 golden bowls filled with the wrath of Elohim, who lives forever and ever. And the dwelling place was filled with smoke from the esteem of Elohim and from his power, and no one was able to enter the dwelling place until the 7 plagues of the 7 messengers were ended. Chapter 16. And I heard a loud voice from the dwelling place saying to the 7 messengers, "Go and pour out the bowls of the wrath of Elohim on the earth." And the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and an evil and wicked sore came upon the men, those having the mark of the beast and those worshiping his image. And the second messenger poured out his bowl on the sea, and it became blood as of a dead one, and every living creature in the sea died. And the third messenger poured out his bowl on the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. And I heard the messenger of the waters saying, You are righteous, O Yehovah, the one who is, and who was, and who shall be, because you have judged these. Because they've shed the blood of set-apart ones and prophets, and you've given them blood to drink, for they deserve it. And I heard another out of the slaughter place saying, Yes, Yehovah El Shaddai, true and righteous are your judgments. And the fourth messenger poured out his bowl on the sun, and it was given to him to burn men with fire. And men were burned with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of Elohim, who possesses authority over these plagues. They did not repent to give him esteem. And the fifth messenger poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his reign became darkened, and they gnawed their tongues from pain. And they blasphemed the Elohim of the heaven for their pains and their sores, and they did not repent of their works. And the sixth messenger poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, in order to prepare the way of the sovereigns from the east. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits, as frogs, for they are spirits of demons doing signs, which go out to the sovereigns of the entire world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Yehovah the Almighty. See, I am coming as a thief. Blessed is he who is staying awake and guarding his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And they gathered them together to the place called in Hebrew Har Megiddo. And the seventh messenger poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the dwelling place of the heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there came to be noises and thunders and lightnings, and there came to be a great earthquake, such a mighty and great earthquake as had not came to be since men were on the earth. And the great city became divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babel was remembered before Elohim to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And great hail from the heaven fell upon men, every hailstone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed Elohim for the plague of the hail, because that plague was exceedingly great. And chapter 17. And one of the 7 messengers who had the 7 bowls came and spoke with me, saying to me, Come, I shall show you the judgment of the great whore sitting on many waters, with whom the sovereigns of the earth committed whoring, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her whoring. And he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, covered with names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was dressed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup filled with abominations and the filthiness of her whoring. And upon her forehead a name was written, a secret: Babel, the Great, the mother of whores and of the abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of set-apart ones, and with the blood of witnesses of Yeshua. And having seen her, I marveled, greatly marveled. And the messenger said to me, "Why did you marvel? Let me explain to you the secret of the woman and of the beast she rides, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, and is about to come up out of the pit of the deep and goes to destruction. And those dwelling on the earth, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, shall marvel when they see the beast that was and is not and yet is." Here is the mind having wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 sovereigns. 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he has to remain a little while. And the beast that was and is not, and is himself also the 8th, and is of the 7, and goes to destruction. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 sovereigns, who have not yet received a reign, but receive authority as sovereigns with the beast for 1 hour. They have one mind, and they shall give their power and authority to the beast. They shall fight with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Master of masters and Sovereign of sovereigns. And those with him are called and chosen and trustworthy. And he said to me, "The waters which you saw where the horse sits are peoples, and crowds, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these shall hate the whore, and lay her waste and naked, and eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For Elohim did give it into their hearts to do his mind, to be of one mind, and to give their reign to the beast, until the words of Elohim shall be accomplished. And the woman whom you saw is that great city having sovereignty over the sovereigns of the earth.